The Toronto Raptors season did not go as expected, especially for myself in a lot of different ways. So today's video, let's revisit 3 of the worst takes I had going into the season to see what I really got wrong. Let's get into it. And I think I can be forgiven for a lot of these. Like, the Raptors very much underwhelmed. There were some much higher expectations going into the season, and the team as well looked very different at the start of the season. But nonetheless, I put out over 1,000 videos on YouTube at this point. We're probably getting to a point where it's gonna be like 2,000 pieces of content here. Nonetheless, if you're putting out that much content, you're going to get some stuff right, you're going to get some stuff wrong. And 3 things that I got wrong this season were very much in relation to the Raptors. So let's get right into things here. But before we do get into things, make sure you guys do like the video if you enjoy along the way and subscribe to the channel. This is Amateur Sports 2, the second channel in the Amateur Production Network, where we give you additional Toronto Raptors content and videos just like this. So first of all, this is probably the biggest one, and it's kind of funny looking back. So when the Raptors at the 2023 NBA trade deadline, 2023, not 2024, the 2023 NBA trade deadline, traded away a top 6 protected pick to the San Antonio Spurs, I was upset that it wasn't a top 10 protected pick, which would have been a little bit better. But in the offseason, I treated that pick like it belonged to San Antonio. That was San Antonio's draft pick. The Toronto Raptors were not going to be anywhere close to bad enough to keep that pick, or so I thought. I told people to forget about it. I told people don't even worry about that pick. There is no way the Raptors are going to be bad enough that they actually have a realistic shot of keeping their 6th overall, or the top 6 protected pick. Well, not only are the Toronto Raptors in a position where they might be able to keep that top 6 protected pick, they have a 45% chance of keeping that pick. They ended with a bottom 6 record, a top 6 record in the reverse standings. So, yeah, it was a bit of a horrible take looking back. I think, to try and forgive myself a little bit for this one, you look at the roster at the start of the season. Think of the day one roster. Dennis Schroeder starting at point guard. He's a fine point guard. Maybe not starting caliber, but a fine point guard. But alongside him, OG Anunoby, a premier player in the NBA, might be on course to getting pretty close to a max contract in the summer. Over $30 million contract on the way. You have Scotty Barnes, who was an all-star this year. Siakam, who's been an all-star twice, all-NBA twice, was an all-star last year. And Jakob Poeltl, a high-quality starting center in the NBA. Gary Trent Jr. coming off the bench. That was a high-quality core to really work with for this season. So, obviously did not expect the team to be this bad. Maybe I oversold the Raptors a little bit, but I wasn't even expecting the world in the season. They were just so far short of expectations. In the end, I got this one wrong. And other people tried to tell me that, hey, there's a chance that this season falls to pieces. And, I had all these bad scenarios in my head. None of them included the Raptors being at this level. So, yeah, a pretty brutal take coming for the Raptors and the top 6 protected pick sent to the Spurs. But, hey, if they don't get the lottery luck, then we'll still have some issues about the protections on that pick. Second thing I got wrong this season, this is something I was very adamant on going into the year, and a player I was pretty high on and had some not so great takes associated with him, and that is Gary Trent Jr. My prediction for Gary Trent coming into the season was that he was the player who was going to get the biggest jump as a result of Darko Rajakovic coming into the team. The biggest jump. The highest degree of development and rise. Because Gary Trent, since arriving to the Raptors in the middle of the 2020-2021 season, the COVID season, where we came in as a 22-year-old, and we had a lot of expectations that grew for the player after he performed very well in the 17 games he played for the Raptors after the trade happened. Had a good second season in Toronto, his first full year in Toronto, and we just expected at 23 years old for the player to continue to grow. Had a slight regression last season and a big regression this season. And, I think there's a chance that Gary Trent may have found something in terms of his role here. It's disappointing that he's virtually the exact same player that the Raptors got when they acquired him in March or April of 2021. It was weird. The scheduling was weird that year. So March, April of 2021, when the Raptors acquired him, there was expectation that he would continue to get better. That just hasn't been the case. And again, if anything, he's gotten slightly worse. May have found something in terms of a more fine-tuned role for himself. It's a possibility that scaling down Trent's role is going to make him a better and more effective player in the league. But I was thinking Gary Trent was going to jump up to near 20 points per game, improve his efficiency. Darko Rajakovic would have specific schemes that would cater to Gary Trent's game. I was excited for the dribble handoffs. We didn't really even get a lot of that, but I just felt like Gary Trent, who's efficient at a dribble handoffs, he'd be utilized there more often. Darko Rajakovic was a more X's and O's, offensively driven, half-court driven coach, but that just was not the case, honestly, at all for Gary Trent. Had some more success in the latter stages of the season when he was like the only serious player who took the court on a day-to-day basis, but did not get the jump from Gary Trent this season. And kind of in line with being wrong about Gary Trent, I had higher expectations for Darko Rajakovic, especially from a half-court offensive setting. The half-court offense was a complete disaster for most of the season. Improved in the second half of the season once the trades were made and then we added a bit more spacing. Sure, the spacing improved, the talent diminished. So there should have been a higher degree of effectiveness from the half-court offense even before the trades were made, but that's part of the reason why the offense struggled, even with the new coach, was focused on that. That was a shame. Another part of Gary Trent that I was really wrong about in the summer was that I thought a big extension was coming, and it was not. And I very much hope he does. I hope he gets an extension. I hope it's not a big one because, again, we've been treating him like somebody who's going to scale up into this, near star player. Well, now we're looking at him like scaling down his role. So we can scale down that contract. I think Gary Trent fits in really well. If he still wants a lot of money, well, seeing him on a different team might be the way to go for the Raptors. The final thing that I was wrong about that I want to highlight in this video. There's more things I was wrong about than these three things, but I wanted to highlight more things. And to give myself some credit, the next video that you're going to see on this channel is going to be 3 things I got right about the Raptors this season. So it's not all going to be negative here. I'm going to give myself a little bit of credit as well. But where I absolutely will not give myself any credit is my takes on RJ Barrett once he was acquired from the New York Knicks. I remember this trade when it happened. I very much remember. I can see where I was out in downtown Toronto, not going to say specifically where I was, and had to jump on a rental bike and haul my ass home to make a video about this. But my immediate reaction was, great. We got Emmanuel quickly. RJ Barrett, well, I guess we had to take that contract to make this deal happen. There's upside. There's some stuff you can work with, but at the end of the day, this is the Emmanuel quickly trade where RJ Barrett was the addition. Like the trade at the time, with my thought process on RJ Barrett being just that, and then we got some outrageously good play from RJ Barrett in his time with the Raptors this season. Time will tell how sustainable this is. Time will tell how well that take ages or how poorly that take ages. But at this point, based on what we've seen from RJ Barrett, I could not conceive anywhere close to this level of play. He's always been a very inefficient player for the New York Knicks, has never averaged above 50% on an effective field goal percentage. Had one blip year from 3 where he got close, 4.99 on the effective field goal percentage, and then out of nowhere, going from 48% on the effective field goal percentage to 60% with the Raptors. Going from 42% shooting from the field in 26 games for the Knicks to 55% shooting from the field in 32 games with the Raptors. Oh my goodness. I still feel as though looking back, people had their Canadian blinders on, thinking they're just happy to have a player they know, a Canadian player in Toronto, a former 3rd overall pick. But there very much was reason to doubt RJ Barrett's abilities when he arrived in Toronto, but he completely blew away. Even the biggest RJ Barrett believers could not have conceived this level of play. But once again, when the games start to get more serious, Time will tell how effective he can be, but I'm seeing a lot of things that are transferable and repeatable for next season. Maybe not 60% shooting or 60% on the effective field percentage. Maybe not 55% shooting, near 40% shooting from three. But can we get even close to that? That's still an amazing player that absolutely proved me wrong about my assessment of him when it came to that trade. So that wraps it up for this one. What were some takes you got wrong heading to the Raptors season? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. But check out some more content here. When the video comes out about 3 things I got right, that'll be right down here. So you can go click on that video. But check out my main channel, Amateur Sports, with over 17,000 subs for more Raptors content. Check out my clips channel, the best stream clips and highlights from the streams from, the main channel, this one over here. Subscribe to this channel you are currently watching on, and I will see you again next time for another video here on Amateur Sports 2.